topics, what do we got?
For work session,
Yes,
I don't have any, but I can talk about some budgeting items.
all right, I got a couple, can I do that first then? I'll go kind of through, you guys got anything you want, any topics?
I wanted to talk about master planning a little bit
Okay,
and
good.
facilities.
It kind of ties into one line anyway.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's talk about master planning, go ahead, let's start.
Well, we did our big meeting and then we stopped, and I just wondered if we were interested in pursuing that any further. I know at least the Opportunity Center and the Park District is getting together and having a conversation about expansion of Opportunity Park and getting an accessible park out to 151. So at least, you know, that dropped out of the meeting, which is good news.
Do we have any written correspondence about that meeting, any notes, minutes?
I believe the notes are coming from CT Consultants, and then,
It's been a long time.
I know, I asked for them again. And then we had caught back up, I think it was last week, about it. Mike, you kind of refreshed me to
Right.
look back into it. And we were waiting on a building count and knowing the address of the buildings. I got with John Logston, got a building count, got that to CT, and they're working on.
What I was gonna say, and that is that I really think that we gotta pop a building down someplace and say, okay, there you go. And don't really have an opportunity to expand it, because I really think that we're gonna have a need, or maybe some assistance on the storage facility, basically. And then we could use that space to just help
Skelter building here, there, yeah.
So what I'd like your permission to do is at least review a couple of counties that might have some archival centers.
And our committee did that a while back.
Okay, you got some ideas there?
Right, and they were both, we went to, they both were renovated space, not new,
Not new space.
not new built, not new shells. You know what I mean? They were renovated parts of courthouse or something.
So, I mean, just the general questions, if we have any interest at all, would be, would we want somebody to build it and then lease it? Would we want to actually own it? You know, there's just a lot of questions, I think, that come up with that. But, you know, evidently we're having some problems with mildew and stuff at the old youth center, I am told. So I think that's a function of the fact that that's really not designed to be you know, not designed to be
It's a youth person.
storage unit.
Right.
So, I mean, basically, we're putting them in a garage.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you guys think, and
You want to break it down into a couple pieces and then get ready for master planning?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if these folks that we
Is
used
it-
before, they're fine with me. I mean, I don't have any problem with them, but I just wish they'd be a little more timely.
Just sent them a email requesting the notes and minutes from the first meeting and an update on contract.
Okay.
So as soon as I get that, it will come to all of you.
Yeah, I absolutely think that we need to put that master plan in place, but I also think that it needs to be the entire, you know, number of buildings that we have and the real estate that we have, to know what is gonna need to be replaced in the next generation and how we get to that point. And is the South Campus the best place for it? I think that it is, but I don't know that for sure.
How would you be willing to have the conversation with soil and water and FSA and those folks?
Any part of it, yeah.
So,
Have you seen it, those complexes you looked at, how, were any of them, you said, well, then that's what we'd like to have?
The Wood County one is the one that sticks out most in my mind. It was pretty slick, the way it was all done. But it's, again, was a shell of what they had, and I'm gonna have to jog my memory with my notes and back with the other one we looked at. But we could put out the thing through your listserv or whatever it's called, about anybody who built one,
Yeah.
who didn't renovate for one, built
Right.
one for, because then we'd get a better idea on cost projections
As I
and
say,
that kind of stuff.
my kind of vision there would be something that could be multifunctional, because, as I say, hopefully as time goes on, less and less rooms are used for storage.
Yeah.
And more are used for office space, or
Yeah,
to put one of the departments in there or something.
because Wood County had the ginormous, I forget what they named it, shredder. They really had a name for it. That mulch things and, you know, that was probably the size of this corner, you know, kind of a thing.
Did they
But
have,
as
did they have
part
an
of-
archivist or somebody that
Yes.
was digitizing
Yes,
things?
they had a person and then a couple like, I don't know if I want to call it student help, but they had a couple of help through different programs in the county
Okay.
of people that were in there that
Yeah,
did
'cause
scanning. like I said, I don't think intern's the right word, it was more like through DJFS, the job share programs that they do,
Makes sense.
were some of the folks that were working in there. And so it seemed like they really had a good handle, and I think that, aside from the functionality of it, and the types of facility built for archival or renovated for archival, was the buy-in that everybody was, I think, they had everybody part of utilizing this
Same
versus
software
this going, I'm
system,
gonna do my own scanning and you guys do,
Yeah.
everybody was on board
Well-
doing what they needed to do.
I think it's a layered problem, we keep talking about digitizing, but and I don't want to use the term throwing money at it, but I think at this point in time, we're gonna take the bull by the horn and come up with a software program that we recommend and a scanning methodology that we recommend, hopefully.
Or at
most
least
of
one that, what we're gonna support.
Yeah.
And if they wanna do their own thing, it's on their own,
Yeah.
it's out of their own operations money.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's still some question amongst the electeds as to what they have to keep and what they don't have to keep. We need to get that question answered and be done with it. In some cases, we have microfiche, we have paper, and we have digital paperwork. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for the same document.
Yeah.
It just seems to me to be pretty silly.
Back to your question about the tenants in there, I will work on, and I'll meet Stacy or Nick or something because of the contracts and so forth, but we'll go through, I'll make an inventory of who's in the building and what type of lease arrangements we currently have with them,
Okay.
what their square footage is, and then I can go talk to them and say, if, what would you want, what would you need if you want me to do that for that
Yeah,
part?
I mean, if you were king, what would you have?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But it's all gotta tie into that master plan.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And then, just to bear in mind and keep in the back of your brains, I'll be looking at the Ohio History Connections grant for 2019, because there is something in there about maintaining historical records and digitizing records.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be looking at something, and I may bring that to you to potentially
Yeah,
use in
anything you can find there would
2019.
be, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's really
let's
important. I mean,
keep
I go back to the courthouse opening, and I tried to find some words. At the time 1884 happened, there just is nothing. We just didn't have anything. Nice little newspaper article. So it certainly would be great if we were able to keep that history for our kids and grandkids. All right.
And then I guess that ties back into downtown as well. Do we want to work with somebody for downtown, or I know we've decided the fate of Carnegie, but we haven't put to rest any of the other issues of
Well, that's why I think-
Tower or
Yeah, that's why I thought the master plan ought to include all
All
that.
that
Yeah,
downtown as well.
I think.
Yes.
I mean,
That
because.
was-
Is CT the best person to do that, or is that a separate?
I
I just
think,
know that Gossman has done a lot of work downtown. I'm not advocating for one or the other. I'm just trying to be
I'm
practical. They did the parking study, they've done the inventory. Gossman has.
Right, I think we've already committed to CT to start working on some of the master plan work for you. And they're already working on all of your building inventory to put into the contract.
That's downtown.
That includes downtown.
Okay, but tell them for me, they already have strike one.
And they get
We
two.
Yeah.
And
we're not gonna.
Cricket.
right, so I would say if when we receive the contract and the updated notes and you look those over, and if you feel that the contract is comfortable or you're not, then you go from that point to decide, well, maybe we want to look at someone else to continue this process. That's your decision at that point. I can't tell you who to go with. I would say
Okay.
Gottman's done a great job, CT does a great job. Either way, it's going to be your choice. But as long as the thresholds are met where you don't have to put it out to bid. If it becomes something where you're going to have to put it out to bid,
Oh,
then
gosh,
there's
I
different
wouldn't- I
thresholds.
wouldn't get
right?
that expensive, but,
Right.
okay.
I
It's really a thought exercise at this point. So.
understood, but I always remember to.
Consultants and
Yeah.
engineers, we're not required to go out to bid for those things, so.
Yeah, kind of odd, because we're still kind of a prospect, we're not a client, and they're still not performing even when we're a prospect, you would expect that at least. Okay,
So we'll keep that going.
all right, the second thing I have is I am.
I still have a lot on that topic. If you
Oh,
want to go back
keep
to,
going,
or I can
keep
talk to
going.
about
No,
when
no,
we
no,
get to
no,
budget.
No, go ahead.
John and I sat down and went through things, because we've all talked about doing some sort of a capital improvement budget, and we're putting more to paper, going through some of the old lists that the building department had, and you know, John specifically, you know, we've got some real issues that still need addressed. Depending on what we decide to do with the ag building, we do have a roof that's leaking out the ag building, that's an old slate asbestos roof. The jail, we're down to one roof on that building, and I think they've
We're
decided.
down to fixing one roof.
We just removed the rest of them, it's
The rest
kind of, you
of
know.
The rest of them have all been actually replaced, so, but Job and Family Services in the engineer's office, they have roof leaks. So we're gonna have that coming soon. John's also had a couple requests to paint barns south of town. But there again, is that gonna be something tied into? Is that just a maintenance item you want them to do? Going to the RTA, there's 4 furnaces that are original. Makes John a little nervous, so he's kinda got an eye on those,
Yeah,
looking
that's
at the
19.
next year or two.
That's Vinnie's 1970 something,
Yeah,
those furnaces.
yep. So they're hanging on there about the time we say that. Winter's coming and it'll decide not to work. We talked about carpet, because there again, the carpet hasn't been updated. It's pretty bad. We do have the recycled content money. The carpet's usually more expensive when we do that, but we have the 50,000 left over from this year that we did not use for any project. I can use that up until June of 2018.
Okay.
It's the first time I've ever
19?
or yeah, 19, sorry.
I'm gonna go back.
And usually I didn't know we had a time limit on them, but that was because I called him and said, hey, we didn't spend our 50 this year, we can carry it over, right? And he said, yeah, but you only have until June. So, you know, we've done carpet, we've done furniture. I could probably go back and get some recycled content stuff from furniture out of the building and submit it, but
And we've done parking lots mostly.
Yep. We started off carpets because that was easy, but then we kind of found out the parking lots were, you know, eligible, so we did a lot of parking lots. So then we started talking about the exterior. We've put $20,000 aside for the RTA for the last 5-10 years now, anticipating washing it, painting it, something.
Tearing it down.
Tearing it down.
You just took the word right out of my mouth.
So,
I wasn't gonna say it.
and that will probably be more towards what goes into this master plan. They'll look at
So wait,
totally,
well, you say you had 20, we put 20,000 a year, every year away?
not away. We just would allocate it every year.
Oh,
Held it.
Held it.
Yeah.
We haven't
Not
accrued,
carry it
No,
over.
we haven't accrued
We
anything.
agreed, we approved $300,000
Yeah.
and we're still not gonna do anything.
No, we put it in place every year, anticipating maybe doing some sort of power washing or painting. And so I'm guessing maybe that would be on the list for, because we don't know what would need to be done. Facade coming off, there's still water filtration issues that we can't locate. You know, we've replaced the roof on that, we've caulked the windows. John just thinks it's some sort of that stucco stuff. It's just absorbs it. So there's a few offices that get damp. CSB, there's been numerous times we talked about the health department entrance, making it a little more attractive, ADA accessible, and then obviously just fixing that little spot in the parking lot that we didn't get addressed. The pit wall down in the bottom, John said it's not structural. The bricks are just falling off. There's like block underneath it. He said the block is still good, but that's a project we got on the slate. And I'm starting to plug these all into our 215 fund, and I'm getting up to way over what we normally budget. So that's why I just wanted to bring up a couple of these. John also said prosecutor's office on Court Street, those windows need replaced, and then the front
Facade.
edges of the facade, that needs
All the
done.
sandstones, now a pile of sand.
Yeah, he said that he had gotten a couple quotes, 5,000 to power wash it and paint it, and 10,000 to chemical clean it and paint it. So it's just what you would decide to do. The museum, we have to revisit the museum. We did get the $25,000, or it's available for the carriage house.
Yes.
Problem is the way I'm reading that document, and I have to talk to David Zach, he's kind of taken charge of that. We have they've committed us to do $100,000 for a project, specifically for the carriage house. What I remember at those museum meetings was the carriage house was gonna be kind of on the foundation and on the historical society to raise money. And we would possibly look at the actual museum doing, you know, the HVAC, because that's an issue, and the electrical. They've got like 20 electrical boxes in the museum.
Well, the strategic planning for the museum itself said that their highest priority is restoring the carriage house.
Right.
Okay, but there are still some significant maintenance issues in the main house.
In the main house, yes. And what I remember them talking about is they thought the carriage house would be a perfect project to do fundraising and different stuff like that. And I know the foundation even committed to matching some funds that we would get for the carriage house. But it's this grant or this money we got from the capital budget is contingent that we spend $100,000, and somehow the Civil War Museum is under there, so we have to spend it so they can get money to do their stairs and other things. So I gotta get with David on that, because I don't have any bids, any specs on anything to do the carriage house, and I'm not sure you guys were interested in spending $100,000 on a carriage house. Well, we know the main building needed things first.
Right.
So that, I just wanted to get that on your agenda. Public safety, again, it's been talked about maybe going south of town. If not, we're looking at siding windows on a roof. They've been looking at securities and locks. And then there's some areas that just don't have heat at all.
Okay, so can
So
we,
I'll stop that.
yeah, you get tired yet? Can we prioritize these? I know it's very difficult. I mean, are any of these things deferrable, if you will, into late this year or early next year? Which ones, you know, which are, we gotta do it this year. We can patch this and get it done next year.
Yeah,
I mean, we need to attend to all of them, but
sure.
Do we want to have a separate capital budget hearing,
Mhm.
and you give us a list and
yeah.
give us some advance to look at it, and
Yep.
we can kind of set priorities among ourselves with John here in the room.
Yep.
But I think many of these tie into the master plan,
Right, I agree.
Right.
you know, so it would be nice to be able to,
But if we can do that, and then hopefully we can know where that's at, and so we can get them merged together.
yeah.
Oh, and he did let me know that one of the boilers at the annex needs fixed. He sent me a quote last week, and it's a little over 17,000 to fix one of the boilers. And he said we could replace, since they're, 16 years old, but he thinks the fix will work, and if you replace one because of the way they're laid out, you almost have to replace both of them, because
Well, how much is it replaced that he's?
he doesn't have a quote, but he's guessing anywhere 16, so my recommendation would be to fix it. I mean, this is the first repair we've had to do on that furnace, or on that boiler.
Okay. All right, well, the other things I have to get through here, we're getting down to the time, is that I just want to let you guys know, and I would invite you, I'm going to talk to the VIP software people on Thursday at 10 on the phone. I asked for a little conversation without any employees present, just to find out what the heck their story is. We've been getting some requests about additional people and that kind of thing, so I think we need to have a little conversation with them. And I also had a call from a guy about permitting, especially with some of the projects that are proposed. Sandusky County's doing separate permitting, and we got about $72,000 last year. I talked to Mark this morning. He's not really fond of the idea, but some of the townships are gonna go on their own for separate permitting. So the big question I have is, if it generates that kind of income, should we at least take a look at it? Sandusky County has a situation where they have a separate permit outside the engineer's office for road use.
So you said townships are gonna do it, their townships are gonna do it, or some of our?
No, some of our townships have already signed up with these folks for specific permitting in townships. I think he said Scipio and maybe Venice, and Eden is looking at it.
So that's separate from when the townships asked Mark to do the stuff
separate
for
from the
them.
room, yeah. Mark said he, well, we could have a conversation about it, I did have a short conversation with him, he's not fond of the idea. I just wanted you guys to know that there has been some conversation that we'll probably have to have in the future about that.
Do we have anything on the Carnegie? Have we started, have we had any conversations as far as getting it sold and?
We haven't looked into that. We knew we were gonna, wait till they got Whitley out of that building, do a little bit of cleanup and then try to figure out,
Have a big open house.
yeah.
Too, we talked about having the specs, that kind of stuff, that we, once
Building
it was
plans.
empty,
Yeah,
so we can get flooded.
yeah. So we're looking at sale in the spring, right?
Yeah, I just want people to start thinking about it and get creative, so I want to get some information out there on the
Yeah.
website, Facebook, so.
Yeah.
If we can nail down an auctioneer and the specs of the building, I don't think it's too early to start talking about that. More time, more creativity, in my mind.
Take some pretty pictures, Jimmy.
Will do.
Any other topics? Okay. We'll take a 7-minute break.